Hi, hello, my name is Sven, and honestly, for as long as I can remember, I naively thought that passion can only come out of something you really like doing, and only after you've been doing it for a long time. As it turns out,
I was wrong.
So let's talk about that. As kids, I think we all knew what we wanted to be someday, right? Or at least had some sort of list of things we wanted to become, things we'd be passionate about. I have a friend who knew she would become a doctor when she grew up right away. I had another friend who didn't know exactly what he wanted to be, but he had an idea, either a scientist or a teacher or something. And then there was me. I knew, well, hoped at least, I'd become either an archaeologist who would discover living dinosaurs, a superhero, or a Pokemon trainer. As you can see, I had very realistic ambitions, but nowhere on this list was a comic artist. In fact, up until 2 years ago, I haven't made a single proper comic, so the question is, why am I now spending most of my time writing and drawing comics? So let's time travel a little bit. Back at the end of 2016, I decided I wanted to animate on YouTube. Now why I did that was a whole different story that we're gonna skip for now, but let's just say that I wanted to try a new hobby, decided it would be animation, and leave it at that for now. So from 2016 till the end of 2018, I did animation, and that was very fun! And then I burned out. Like completely. Just done. Gone. And then in February 2019, after I took a short break, I was getting ready to go back into animating, I was hyping myself up, ready to get back into the swing of things, but once I looked at all the stories I wanted to tell and short animations I wanted to make, it got a bit too much. And by that, I mean way too much. I was unable to pick between all the ideas I had and it made me stuck. And that was mainly because when you want to animate something, you have to brace yourself for the fact it will take you dozens, if not hundreds of hours to make it. That's weeks, sometimes even months of work for just one single piece of content. And the thing is, I get distracted very easily, and within just hours of starting one project, I would already start planning the next one. That would result with a lack of discipline, a lot of frustration, and not a lot of work done. It's one of the reasons why I stopped animating in the first place, and I wanted to avoid all of that this time around.
Not this time!
So I was like, okay, what if instead of turning a bunch of these ideas into animations, I turned them into something shorter and easier to create? Great, and what's shorter than animation but long enough to tell a story? Images, more of them, at once. There's even a name for that. A comic, yeah. And what do I know about comics? I know nothing at all. Yeah, so now I spend most of March going through different comics, resources, tutorials, tips and tricks, how-tos and whatnot, and finally on March 31st I uploaded my first ever comic. And it flopped, obviously. Like total zero. And that was fine because it took me just a few hours to make it and that was the whole point. I just wanted to find a way to quickly turn some of my ideas into some sort of content, something that my brain would find acceptable, and short comics were a perfect match. I did not care about making a success out of it, I didn't care about numbers or anything, it was just supposed to be my creative outlet for some of the ideas so I can properly focus on animating. I remember looking at those first few comics and thinking, wow, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna make a few comics, get it out of my system, and then I'm gonna go right back to animating. Perfect plan, right? Wrong. So wrong. You see, what I didn't expect at all was that making comics is way more fun and fulfilling than I expected it to be, and it allowed me to use far more creativity in far less time than I thought it was possible. I was able to explore different stories, different characters, and different worlds even on the same day, simply because most comics, from writing the idea to finishing the full, obviously short comic, could take as little as just a few hours. For someone with the attention span of a carrot, like me, this was a perfect hobby. Within just a few weeks of drawing comics, I became completely obsessed with it. And only after a whole week of not being able to sleep because my brain refused to shut down while brainstorming ideas for the next comic, I realized what the issue was. It was no longer a hobby for me. It was my passion? Oh crap, this is my passion. Oh my god, I'm never going to be able to sleep properly again, aren't I? And I loved it, okay? I spent years losing sleep over chemistry exams, it was nice to finally lose sleep over something I actually like doing. On top of that, the comic artists? Let me tell you, they are some of the most hardworking, ambitious, yet kindest people I've met in my life. And I'm not even being paid to say this. These are all facts. That'll be $10.
They were a blessing that I needed, but not the one I deserve.
I'm serious, being introduced to that entire community was probably the best thing that happened to me in 2019. You know how in school you're often surrounded with people who are as lazy as you are, so it's easy to be even lazier and more unproductive.
Bruh, school sucks. Who cares about homework?
Huh. Fair enough. Yep, it's easy to not be productive when you're surrounded with unproductive people. Already knew that. But as it turns out, it works the same way when you're surrounded with highly ambitious, productive people. I was somehow lucky enough to get surrounded with a group of people that had such high ambitions that their enthusiasm influenced my productivity as well. I mean, I would wake up, often feel like doing nothing at all, go into our group chat and see people discussing all the productive things they were doing. Yo, I just finished my book! We just sold a ton of merch! I just finished all my commissions! I hit a new milestone! And I'm just looking at what these people are doing and like...
Whoa, you guys are making me want to be productive.
And so I was productive. I started drawing more, I branched out, and I just really fell in love with making comics. Thanks to the amazing community of comic artists, I was able to keep myself productive and disciplined. Thanks to the support from all of my amazing followers and readers, I was able to grow faster than I ever thought I could. And thanks to the amazing people who support me on Patreon, I realized that comics can be at least somewhat self-sustainable with enough support. And so 2 years later, here I am, still drawing comics with no plans on stopping anytime soon. But I do plan on going back to animating because I love animating and actually telling the stories as well. And that's what I'm doing right now. I want to inspire you to find out what you're passionate about. My journey of finding passion in drawing and animating started with a random YouTube animation I saw years ago. So if you'd like to continue following my journey on YouTube and hear random stories of mine that I find funny, entertaining, or educational, be sure to subscribe here. If you'd like to read my comics, follow me there. And if you'd like to support me, get exclusive content, and help me balance these two, you can join my Patreon as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments, and remember, be active, stay in motion, and I'll see you next time.